Maya Ying-lin was a very influential artist and focused on architecture and memorials, but was really a gateway for many young female artists to find empowerment and influence and motivation in the art industry that has focused so much on big names and mostly men too. About Maya, she was born on October 5th, 1959 in Athens, Ohio. She's now 59 years old, but a lot of her prominent pieces and designs came out in the 1990s and the early 2000s when she was younger. She's best known for her land art, her architecture, and her memorials. And I will talk about some of those and the examples of her notable pieces of work later in the presentation. A biography about her. Her parents fled China in 1948 during the beginning of the communist takeover, and this was right before it started up and really got going in 1949. And they came to the U.S. She grew up and went to college at Yale. And when she was a senior at Yale, when she was 21 years old, she entered a national competition to design a sculpture, a memorial to commemorate the Vietnam veterans that would be displayed in Washington, D.C. Uh, she won the competition, and her design was very cool. It's a very tall wall. But I think it's 250 feet long. It's got 58,000 names of men and women that were killed in Vietnam, and it's alphabetical, which is I think is cool. But it really brings out a sense of grief and mourning for people who visit it. And since I was blessed to be able to see it when I was younger, I think I was 14 when I was able to see it. It was a very cool experience. Having an uncle that served in the war, it was very emotional for my dad and me, just to really just gaze upon what happened and how she so rightfully designed the memorial to commemorate them. And the what surprised me is when I learned more about the design itself is how much controversy was behind it. I thought the design was very cool, but immediately after the design was released, when she won the competition, a lot of Vietnam veterans came and labeled it the Black Gash of Shame. And were very upset, saying it didn't represent them well. It wasn't a good memorial. It's not how what they wanted. So the committee added three realistic figures of soldiers and an American flag on a 60-foot pole. They kept it close enough to be a part of the monument, but far enough away to preserve her design and her artistic view and the symbolism that she wanted to display. Another notable creation, which was later in 2009, I think, is called The Last Memorial. And this was a memorization and creation to commemorate nature and the beauty of it, but what's left of it and how little there's left of it. Our focus was not on what was there, but what was missing and how we take granted nature that we have, and things like habitat loss. As you can see, by the design of the spheres, um, most of the sphere is taken up with air, so the little that is actually there um, really symbolizes how much little is there versus um, how much for granted we take the beauty and the um, limited availability that we have in nature that God has given us. Um, Another very cool creation and memorial is the Civil Rights Memorial that's in Alabama. This is a massive black stone table, and it's a commemoration to those who died during that time. And it actually intertwines different events with people that died, so it connects people to the events. And it's cool because it's a table, so it's where people come to join and talk and discuss issues. Um, but it represents, because of the black, it represents death and how often um, um, justice and and trying to find better legislation leads to people dying somehow, which is a very cool representation, I think. She also has a big love for water and had a lot of very cool architectural pieces, or I should say land art pieces that really represented that. So she would take fields and create the look of waves throughout the fields. So there's one in Miami called the Miami Flutter, which is the top picture, and then the wave field, which is in Ann Arbor, Michigan, is the bottom picture. Um, and it was cool how she could take dry land, which is dry and separate from the water, but make it look so real and represent water like it did, and kind of just the parallelism between how grass needs water to grow and to look so beautiful. So I thought that was cool. Awards and accolades. She was awarded the National Medal of Arts in 2009. She served on the jury that chose the design for the World Trade Center Memorial. That was a huge deal. Um, I remember we did the weekly discussion on the World Trade Center designs and the different designs that were chosen, and I thought it was cool that I was able to connect that with what we did there, and then her and her life story and how she was connected with that piece. And then I think what was most cool, she was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by President Obama in 2016, which is a huge honor. Um, appreciate you listening to my presentation. I hope you learned a lot about Maya Lin. She's a very influential artist um, that has changed how we view memorials and honoring people and the importance of grief versus maybe show or making things look cool or atheistic, but focusing on why we're remembering what we are and the importance of remembering people that laid down their lives so that we could live better ones, as well as her very cool pieces with land art and how she creates something so obscure and different out of something as simple as just flat grass and makes it look like waves. Um, thank you. Have a great day.